Good evening. How is everyone doing? I'd like to take the time to welcome you to another Morning Glory Apostolic Prophetics in the video. I am their host, Dietrich Hubbard. And today we're going to do our State of the Church address. State of the Church. And and a lot of times when I do this, it's because of who I am and the relationship that God has instilled with me that oftentimes people may pray or ask questions as to where is the church as a whole as it relates to the things of God. And so God began to allow me to speak his mindset concerning these things, and I have done it for a few years now. So today we're going to talk about the state of the church for this year. And one of the things I'm seeing is that the relationship that many leaders have with God are very null and void. We have allowed the friendship of the world to pollute the authenticity and the pureness of the Holy Spirit. We have taken on the persona that we can live in the world through carnality as long as we express some kind of spiritual manifestation. And most of the time, that's in the flesh. We're going to go over four key points that God has been dealing with me on today as I was, going about my day here and there. Because what we fail to see is that God is making a sharp left turn, but yet and still the church still keep turning right and going straight. If many of you don't feel or get in tune with the Spirit of God and miss this sharp left turn, then it's going to be hard for you to really balance uh, 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 the truth from a lie. Because when it's hard left turn, as I've been teaching the people who listen to me, it's about a committed relationship. And most of us are not committed to the things of God. The first thing God wants us to make sure that when we talk about what's going on in the world to come, the first thing we're going to go over is finances. Finances is going to be a critical part of how God begins to direct his church as it leads to 2024. You're going to see people who are going to come together and they're going to begin to buy land and they're going to buy buildings and what they're doing, they're setting it up for the world to come. That's why one of the things that I've been, and that's another one I'm gonna get on, but that's one of the things that I've been teaching on the past few weeks is that you got to know that the people around you are committed. If you find someone who's committed to every aspects of their life through finances, but they're not committed to the work of God through their finances, those are the people that you don't want around you. Because knowing that God says this is the first thing that we gonna have to understand, it's sort of going to be like I remember growing up, I had a group of friends, and everybody chip in and they'll go buy stocks back then. They had like a little stock group. What we're going to see is people that's going to get together and pool their money together, and they're going to look for land and animals and houses and buildings and anything else that may be needed as it relates to this world to come. Because what's going to happen, a lot of you, if you've been looking at the news and looking at what's going on, a lot of people are going to begin to live underground. And the benefits of living underground really is better than living above ground. See, one thing about living underground, you can have one way in and one way out. So you're not going to have to defend your you don't have to defend your property or your family as much if you got something that's going underground. All right. So you got to be weary of people who you see spend their money frivolously. Because most people that God is really going to deal with, they're coming to an understanding of a mindset of things they really don't need. And therefore, they'll begin to save money here and there. The next thing you're going to have to understand for 2024, you're really going to have to evaluate the people that you're around. If you don't see people hungry for God like you're hungry for God, you got to mark those people and try to see why they have no hunger for God. And most of them you will see that they really don't want God. We got to understand that to some people, I ain't got down on today. For some people, the faith or God or Jesus or Holy Spirit, whatever, they're like they're just like jewelry you hang around your neck. It's just a centerpiece to say I belong, but yet they don't add any value to you. So when you examine people and around you, especially those who claim they are of the Christian faith, if they add no value to you, then you don't need to be around people that don't have add no value to you. It's not, see, being believers, we should have a heart for people that no matter what level they on, we supposed to show them love anyway. But because we in a season that God is trying to prepare us, that God is building this spiritual art, you got to really watch and see how people treat you. So if I'm of value to you when you need me, but then you talk about me when I ain't around you, I'm no value to you. Because if I did anything to anybody in a way that offends you or you think it offends you, communication is key. That's why a lot of women are not married now. Because it's mostly women and some men that'll get into this place where if they mad at you, they just stop talking to you. They mad and you don't even know they mad unless they blow up. And now you run around here worrying. That's why a lot of women ain't married. You don't have no communication skill. So I don't care how fine you is or you think you is. I don't care how much God you know, which means you don't know no God, because only an ungodly person will harbor hate, bitterness, and all kind of stuff in their heart and tell everybody but you. That's what I mean by you got to watch the church people. You got a lot of leaders that's in position because they want to be in position, not because God really put them in the position. Because see, like I said a few videos ago, if somebody say, "Hey, I want you to mentor me, I want you to oversee my church," and this, that, I said, "Okay." I can walk in that church to see how much your ministry really mean to you. It's evident because that's who I am. So if I walk in a church and you shy from head to toe, but you holding up your phone in your hand to video, I got a problem with that. Cause a cause a uh, 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 whatever they call them, I forgot them, a podium to hold your phone or whatever it called. I forgot the name of. They less than $50, but you got on $300 shoes, $500 hairdos, $70 nails. I don't know if your jewelry real or fake, but it's that instant. I automatically see. I said they in ministry for identity. Yeah, you're in ministry for identity. So we got to make sure that as we evaluate people around us spiritually, we got to make sure that the people around us are spiritual. Anything that's not really increasing in spiritual value is worthless to me at this point in time because the Bible says we go from faith to faith. So if you've been around me and we go from faith to faith, why your faith ain't went nowhere? That's because God is of no spiritual value to you. And if God ain't no spiritual value to you, I'm no spiritual value to me because I speak of the spirit to grow you into God. So the next thing we got to see, number three, we got to make sure our connections are connected. We got to make sure they connect. Because see, watch this. It's like having a surge protector. And the surge protector plugged into the wall. And you might have 6 outlets on that surge protector. And you plug in all your outlets or connection to get some power from the surge protector. So if it got 6 slots on there, but one slot is not getting any power, but it's plugged up, the only way that you don't know that if it's not getting any power is that you test it. You got to test people who say they're connected to the spirit. And once you test people that say they're connected to the spirit, and you find that there is no connection in the spirit, you got to unplug yourself from them people because they short circuiting you. They feeding off your power. They feeding off your prayer. They feeding off your growth. They're feeding off your mentality. A lot of people, I've come to find out, a lot of people ain't got no relationship with God. They building their relationship with God off of your relationship with God. And so they think that they're your equal because you teaching them at a level that they need to grow to. So now they think they're already at that level. So now they ain't growing because they look at you as the source. Watch your connections. You're going to see in 2024 that your ministry, your power, your authority, your wisdom, and your understanding is going to become more defined and more catered to who you are. That means you got to pay careful attention to the spirit because we're in that defining moment. It's like y'all see them ice sculptures. It's like an ice sculpture. You got a block of ice, but when they go to working on it, you're making something. So you got to know a lot of y'all. God is bringing you into the individuality of who you are. So you got to pay attention to every slightest detail that God allows you to move, whisper, or show you who you are. You don't want to miss a defining moment in your life by doubting if God's in your life. I'm telling you now, we're in a critical spot right here. That's why a lot of you got to make sure that you're financially free from yourself. Financially free from yourself. What does that mean? That means that it ain't all about you. That means once you get low, oh God, what am I gonna do? That means, see, you got to be able to stay stable whether you got it or not. Because when God opened the door to give you more finances, you don't want to be like some of the people in ministry now. God began to give them more. You look at how you can live now. So now you want to go get get the Birkin bags and you want the Mercedes and you want the Maybach, and then all that's a sign of you having a ride. No, it ain't. The Bible say, Bible. He said, what good is it to profit the whole world and lose your soul? I might have to teach that in depth, but for the point of what I'm saying, when he said lose your soul, you got to look up, you got to understand Jesus came to save our soul. And when he said lose your soul, that means you haven't tapped into who you are. See, a lot of people, when you look at the Steve Harveys and the people and the Jamal Bryans, they wear all these fancy clothes and all this and that, but you don't see them laying no hands and people recover. You don't see no blind eye. See, you may see somebody in there prophesy or they slanging oil. Losing your soul means not connected to the power within you. That's what that means. So you connected to all the luxuries of the world, but you don't have the luxury of God, which is the power of the Holy Spirit. Number 3, I've been saying this, back to it. 2024, you got to be committed to be committed. You got to become covenant in the things of God. You can't be sitting around here. You can't be sitting around here with a side chick Jesus. Y'all know what that is? Side chick Jesus. That means the only time you call them up when you want to get your rocks off, you pay them with a little prayer, and then you go on out it and do whatever you want to do. We got to get rid of this side chick mentality when it comes to Jesus. You either all in or you all out. See, a lot of people losing a discord. Where that word come from? What I'm trying to say. A lot of people losing that they're losing the natural ability to listen to me now because I'm going a little harder than I usually go. I got to do it because God said I want people that committed. I don't care if you my son, my mama, my brother. If you ain't committed, I'm not the one for you in this season because I'm gonna hurt your feelings. I'm gonna hurt your feelings. Not that I don't want to, it because if you know what I stand for, don't try to make me bend for what you want me to be. If I say I don't drink, don't offer me no drink. If I say I don't believe in no done sororities, don't invite me to your party. You got you. What that rapper name? He had the whole letter out. He was making his video. You got to stand on business this year. Because We got to preach a defended gospel. Ain't nobody protecting the gospel no more. They letting Lil Nas do what he want, and then the people that come out that wanna attack Lil Nas, here you in there Greeking to your little God in the pulpit. So it don't do no good for you to try to rebuke Lil Nas, and you got your own. At least Lil Nas may be making fun of the true God, but at least he ain't in the church like he's serving the true God, but Greeking to another one. Ain't nobody defending the gospel. We making the scripture be what it want to be, twist it how we want to twist it, and we losing people who really need the pure authenticity of the Holy Spirit. Boy, that must be good. I ain't get tongue tied on authenticity, because that's what we after this season. You got to have a job. You want to be with me. That means you got to find your place in God. See, we can't say we want God and then we mess around and do all kind of foolishness, attack our brothers and our sisters. That shows you ain't got a relationship with God. I was getting a few dollars out my teller today. I had a few dollars. I got my feet done. I didn't notice it till I got in my car. I said that heifer had did my feet because I don't think she got behind. Let me see. Oh yeah, she got behind. It still feel rough. I'm gonna look good. But I was getting some money at the teller. And I noticed the man in front of me, but when you had a teller, I said, why this fool in front of me? I said, he come around here and trying to get my money. I'm gonna hurt him. And I thought he was just walking, but he was digging in the trash can. You know what made me give him money? He didn't ask for none. He didn't ask for none. I was finna drive off, and he would he wouldn't even finna speak to me because he was looking now. I took one of them 20s. I said, here you go. He said, man, God bless you. I said, ain't no problem. He went on the corner like y'all see now. I'm talking about they on every corner. I know how I feel to eat out of garbage can. But watch the mentality of him. I ain't begging nobody for nothing. I ain't asking for nothing. And when he had the gumption to say, God bless you, I can feel the authenticity of his God bless you because I'm looking at what he's doing. And in his mind, whatever I get out of this garbage can, I'm going to eat it and it ain't going to hurt me. That's the mentality I looked at. It wasn't where he was getting it from. It was the matter, whatever I find, if I eat it, it's not going to bother me. I've been there before. Boy, I remember I was so hungry one day, I had about $5 or $10. Oh, yeah. And I was stopping by old Popeyes on Finley Avenue. I never forget. I got that I spent like that. They had a little 2-piece. Some chicken was kind of cheap back then. I think I spent maybe $5, $8. So they said, park up there. I parked up there, but when I seen that lady walk out that door and she had that big old box of chicken, I said, I ain't order all that. Man, that lady had me that. I know I had got me a little 3-piece. That lady had me that big box. I opened it up. It was a family size of chicken. I closed it down. I was looking because I ain't want her to flag me down till my hair made a mistake. Boy, I hit that car. I went around my friend John's house. This is right before I moved to Atlanta too. But he dead now. I went in John's house. John, they even had no food. God take care of food. I said, John, I got some chicken. You want something to eat? Man, we had about 15 pieces of that Popeye's chicken in there, but we was sitting back. Boy, I sure was hungry. And boy, we was full. We was full. Commitment. You got to be committed that God take care of you no matter what you have. The problem is the reason God is not taking some care of some of us because we never got committed to God based on what we had. That was I was on social media talking about. You got people, you got people that say we ain't living under the law. If we ain't living under the law, why are you still holding people to the law of the tithe? You can't hold people to the law of the tithe, the law go, because when you get over the New Testament, it's all about giving and God giving you the heart to give. Because see, if you hold people to the law of the tithe, then a person would never give no more than 10%. That's why Jesus came and established something. You never seen Jesus say, let me lift up an offering. You ain't never seen we blessed in the field while you rain up with your put your offering in the air. You didn't see Christ doing that. Because when people really believe in God, they gonna give to what they believe in anyway. Why you think people give to me? You don't you don't see Jesus say, hey, it's offering time. Paul put it like this. He said, anything you got as an offering, what did he say? I'll pick it up when I come around so there'll be no gatherings when I get there, which means no crowds to bring me your money. I'll stop by your house to get it. What does that mean? That means even back then, when you connected to a ministry, a person that don't feel obligated to give anything, that shows your obligation to God to be understand. And see, that's what the church people be trying to preach to y'all when they be trying to tell y'all to tithe. It ain't about tithe, it's about your heart. It's about your heart. So when I seen that guy eating at the garbage can, yeah, I think this is the second time I gave away some money. God might be working, trying to work something. I seen him eating at that garbage can. That's the mentality we got to have about God. No matter what situation I am, I know God got me. But how can God get you and you don't put no committed effort to showing God he got you? See, God put in all the effort to show he got you, but you ain't putting in no effort to say that you got God. God waking you up, you're in your right mind, you got a job, you get what I'm saying? You able to you able to look at Brother Hubbard here and now? Huh? But the fault is you ain't doing nothing to prove to God that you and him got a connection. You want to base your connection with God off of people's exterior understanding of God, which means you want to put yourself at a level in God that you're taught. You taught that level, but you never experienced that level. And for many of us, that's what causes us to not have a relationship with God because we're not really seeking him. We seeking the attributes. We seeking the attributes of who God is without understanding the human parts of who God is. 2 cups. Sipping on that syrup. So what you're doing, you're sipping on all the knowledge God has to give you, but you're never returning anything to give. That leads us to the last thing, focus. If you can't get yourself in a position on focusing that you can really fast, you're going to miss God. That's how serious it is. And a lot of you, see, when you can't fast, you full of flesh. That that shows me automatically, and a lot of people don't know it, but it don't bother me because I can tell now, so it don't bother me. I know you're gonna fail anyway, so it ain't gonna matter. When a person can't fast, that tells me your flesh has more control than your spirit. Your your spirit doesn't have any control. That's why a lot of you able to do things and want to find faults in others because you too hyper spiritual that you can't see the fault in yourself. So when a person can't fast, it shows they has no discipline. No discipline means you don't have no balance. No balance means your spirit ain't in control. So now, oh, you think you been growing in God? No, you ain't. We we be looking, we be looking because there's no consistency in you. Ain't no consistency. So now you got to come to a point that if you really want God, you're gonna have to prove it in this season. Because see, y'all can't be like the world and think that you can say you operate in the light and you full of darkness. In the beginning, Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the water. Teach you a little lesson. Maybe you'll learn to understand Revelation. So it has to be balanced in your life. That's why God created the heaven and the earth. It got to be balanced. Up here and down here. All right. So watch this. And the earth was out formed. It didn't say the heaven was out formed because the heaven was already formed. Y'all just didn't know the heaven was formed, but it was already formed in his mind before he spoke it. But the earth, which means your flesh, without form and void, which means it was doing whatever it wanted to do because it didn't know the right thing to do. And darkness was upon the face of the deep. But watch where his Spirit of God moved upon the face of the water. Why would God's Spirit find water instead of moving in the earth? Because water is the only element that God made that it can create its own path. It can create its own level. Turn your water hose on and let it drip. If it drip long enough, guess what's going to happen? Wherever it go, it's going to start to create a path. If something in the way, it'll move around that obstacle and still keep going. That's how we have to be on this earth. You can't let your obstacle stop you from creating who you are. And a lot of people are in a place called stop because the obstacle that God gave them is so simple to get over it. But guess what? You got to put some structure in your life to do it. Your life ain't got no structure. It's selfishness. Selfishness. So we got to be around people that's focused. Do you know how many so-called friends I got and Christian leaders that follow me or on Facebook and they get mad at what I say and think I'm talking about them and try to make me and try to make me feel bad about what I say. How you gonna make me feel bad about what I say? Ain't no way. Uh-uh. How I'm apologize for something I only say what I hear? You want me to apologize because you actually being convicted, but since you don't want to feel the conviction, I'm offended. You should have said that this time. You should have said, you can't listen here. Ain't nothing like a person that think they on the same level as you try to correct you when they in the wrong. I listen to a bum on the street before I listen to some of these church folks. Because a bum on the street that don't even know me, he can look at me and say, just like sometimes I say when I be out here buying my watermelon during the summer, you must be a preacher. If a stranger can look at you and don't know who you are and understand what you called to do, how you gonna tell me what I'm called to do and you don't even know who I am? My friend mom died. I talked to him a few minutes ago. Wanted me to come up there and do something at the funeral. I said, man, no, man. I said, y'all know how I am about them funerals. I don't fool around on funerals. Death coming to me. You get what I'm saying? So you mess around and call me to the funeral. I'm gonna be up there probably preaching a sermon. I ain't gonna be talking about no death. I'm gonna be talking about get your right life right with God. I ain't gonna give you no consolation. I'm gonna preach this. See, but that comes from me knowing how I'm called. I ain't called to do no funeral. And he had me laughing. He said, cause I know you'll ride up on me at any minute. And I was laughing because I said to myself, I said, I want to ride up there before the funeral starts. But since they're gonna have the funeral on a Sunday and it's on the weekend, I do need to get something out of my trailer, but I don't think I want to. I don't want to get in that funeral atmosphere. And boy, that bill growing right. I ain't got time for them. What they call them cougars to be after me. You know what I'm saying? Look at that. Yeah. I had to wash my hair today. I ain't put my waves in it because I had to wash it. You know, that's all that. But those are the 5 things that we got to be aware of coming in this 2024. You got to be aware that if your finances ain't committed to God, God can't commit his finances to you. It got to be an exchange. It can't be all. So you got to know which leads to number 2, you got to know your value. All right. Then you got to do some evaluation. And I'm keep telling you, if you ain't no value to God's kingdom, how can God be any value of you? Because all the value that he's really putting himself into is people who gonna help this kingdom, which leads to your connection. That's why it's important that you be connected to the right people. It's important. And once you connected to the right people, you got to be committed. All this, when you get mad at somebody and this and that, and y'all this and that, y'all got to cut that out. Which leads to your focus. You got to be able to focus. Because if you can't focus, you're going to be forgotten. Because we trying to get on the other side of the mountain. And if you going to grow in God, I guarantee you he going to know. So what's going to happen? February 1st, you got 40 days to get right with God. If you can't get right, I guarantee you about to get left because he got to go full speed ahead because we got to defend this gospel. And we don't need nobody around. No, I can't say that because my mama in the what the old lady got? They big up there in St. Louis. My mama in the red hat gang. Thank you, Jose. You know, my mama red hat, and my mama AKA, and your mama dumb and she worshiping demons. Tell her I said it. Oh, you mad I'm talking about your mama? Come on. 2 pieces of the biscuit. Because it's in the word. There shall be no other gods before me. No other gods. So if I say your mama fools, you fool. Your dad a fool too if he in the Masons. And then the black Masons, what y'all is, y'all the Prince Hall Freemasons. Yeah, that's what y'all is. Them skull and crossbones. I don't care about your mama and your daddy. You rather give them a hard word to make it into heaven than to shut your mouth and they go to hell. Nobody care about y'all around here going to y'all boule, strolling on the blocks. All your demons. Your demons. But guess what? That's why God make people like me. Because we just going to tell you. What you going to do to her? Cut my lights off? Ain't going to do no good because guess what? I grew in the hood. I know how to turn them back on. And cut my water off. I know how to steal that too. Steal my money? I don't care. I know how to steal. So what you gonna do? You gonna kill me? Guess what? You can't kill my soul. That's how y'all got to begin to live your life. But you can't do that because you don't want to offend nobody. We in this season, it's all God or nothing. Y'all be blessed.